Being a teenager is tough. School, the friendships, the responsibilities, and then also trying to figure everything out. But for teens with ADHD, it can feel even more overwhelming, like trying to juggle 100 things more than anyone else around you. And ADHD in teens often looks very different from what people might expect. It's not just about getting easily distracted or being super hyperactive. It can show up as emotional ups and downs, forgetfulness, difficulty staying motivated, or even struggling to keep up with friendships. And that's why today we're diving into signs that your teen might have ADHD and things that often get overlooked, misunderstood, or brushed off. If you've ever wondered whether ADHD could be playing a role in your teen's life, or if you just want to understand it better, stick around because we have a lot to cover. Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Yanina, cognitive psychologist, ADHD coach, and ADHDer myself. Whether you've been officially diagnosed or you're currently deep diving into the internet rabbit holes, trying to figure out if ADHD might be part of your story, I've been there. ADHD can come in all different forms, so some teens might struggle more with inattention, others more with hyperactivity, and then there are also some who experience both of these symptoms. And because of this, a lot of symptoms can fly under the radar. So here are some signs that might indicate your teen has ADHD. So the first one is chronic disorganization as well as forgetfulness. So if your teen's backpack looks like a disaster zone, their room is a perpetual state of chaos, and they constantly lose track of assignments, deadlines, or even their phone, it might not just be that typical teenager messiness, because ADHD affects executive functioning skills, making it harder for teens to organize tasks, manage time, and remember important details like where they place their phone. So the next one is hyperfocused on special interests, but struggling to focus on anything else. So contrary to popular belief, people with ADHD can focus, but only on things they find genuinely interesting. So if your teen can play video games for hours, but can't focus on homework for more than 5 minutes, that might be a red flag. And ADHD isn't just a lack of attention, but it's more a difficulty of regulating where that attention goes. The next one is emotional sensitivity and mood swings. Teens with ADHD often experience RSD, rejection sensitivity dysphoria. That is a deep emotional reaction to perceived criticism or failure. And if your teen has extreme emotional highs and lows, or takes rejections very personally, or gets upset over small things, this could be linked to ADHD. Another sign could be impulsivity and poor decision making. Teens in general are known for just making riskier choices, but ADHD definitely amplifies this. So your teen might blurt out inappropriate comments, interrupt conversations, or make impulsive purchases without thinking it through. And this impulsivity can also show up more in risky behaviors like reckless driving, substance use, or engaging in unhealthy relationships. Another sign is constant fidgeting and restlessness. Does your teen always need to be moving around or tapping their foot, bouncing their leg, doodling, or just gets up very frequently? While this is a common ADHD symptom in younger kids, it often persists into teenage years, and it's not just having that extra energy, it's the body's way of coping with that overactive ADHD brain. Another sign is procrastination and trouble finishing tasks. ADHD, of course, makes it very, very difficult to start, to stay on track, and to finish tasks. And that leads to procrastination. And if your teen constantly puts off schoolwork until the last minute or starts projects but rarely ever completes them and finishes them, that could also be related to ADHD and the executive dysfunction. Another symptom is time blindness. Teens with ADHD often struggle with time management, and they may underestimate how long a task will take, be chronically late, or feel like time constantly slips away from them. They might generally believe they have just 5 more minutes until an hour has passed. As your child is getting older and growing into a teen, many might think that the ADHD symptoms should be getting better, when in fact ADHD symptoms might actually be getting worse, or they're changing and they're developing different symptoms, or the symptoms are just showing up very differently. And puberty can, of course, just change how these symptoms come up or make these symptoms even more challenging. As academic expectations rise and social pressures increase, teens with ADHD might also start to struggle more with just keeping up with their schoolwork, as well as managing their emotions and peer relationships. They might struggle more with controlling impulses, which can lead to risky behaviors like the reckless driving, experimenting with substances, or even unsafe sexual activity. Also, a lot of teens are starting to develop more of that independence while they still need that extra support, especially if they have ADHD. On top of that, ADHD in girls is often overlooked, so they might not even be diagnosed yet. While boys may present their hyperactivity more physically, girls with ADHD might seem more spacey, overly talkative, or emotionally sensitive. And in general, a lot of girls and women internalize their feelings and their ADHD symptoms. This is why so many girls get diagnosed later in life. Now, what can you do to actually support your teen? First step would be to get a professional evaluation. And for an ADHD diagnosis, the symptoms must be present in multiple settings. So for example, at home as well as in school, and these symptoms must interfere with daily life to qualify for an ADHD diagnosis. And just getting that evaluation can be helpful to know if it is ADHD, if it might be something else that could be maybe more quickly fixed or easier treated, or if it's something else besides ADHD or something in addition with ADHD. Once you have that official diagnosis for your teen, you can work with teachers and school counselors to support them even more. And many teens with ADHD can benefit from a 504 plan or an IEP plan. So you can reach out to your school to discuss how this could be beneficial for your teen. And if you're interested in learning more about the 504 plan and the IEP plan and what the difference is and how it could support your teen, you could comment underneath this video and I can hopefully make a video in the future about this topic. Another way to support your ADHD teen is to set up more structure and routines. ADHD brains might be very resistant to routines, but in general, our brains really thrive in consistency. So it could be very helpful to create a predictable schedule and use tools like planners or reminder apps. Another way you can support your teen is by encouraging movement or any type of exercise, because in general, physical activity really helps the brain to focus more, be more motivated, and to regulate emotions, which can be especially helpful for a teen. Another way you can support your teen is by discussing medication and just in general other treatment options. Because if your child got a diagnosis, it can look into medication, ADHD coaching, therapy, and in general lifestyle changes, as this can significantly improve ADHD symptoms. Another way you can support them is by helping them develop executive functioning skills. As most ADHDers have an executive dysfunction, meaning that our executive functioning skills is something that we struggle with, and it will be very helpful for you to teach them things like time management, organizational strategies, or emotional regulation skills, as this can be something that is very overwhelming to do on your own. And as you might know, your teen might not always want to listen to you. You can also look into getting an ADHD coach, and I have some information about ADHD coaching below. Another way you can support your ADHD teen is by keeping the conversation open, as teens with ADHD may feel like they're constantly falling behind or struggling or aren't good enough or lazy. So it's really important for you to keep the conversation open so they're comfortable enough to share these things with you. And then you can remind them that ADHD isn't a flaw, it's just a different way of thinking, and that requires support and understanding. And then you can encourage them to try these ADHD tools. As you now know, ADHD in teens isn't just about being hyper or easily distracted. It affects every part of our being and your teen's being. And the more we understand these hidden signs, the better we can support teens in navigating their challenges with ADHD. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And let me know in the comments what ADHD struggles have you or your teen faced. Let's keep the conversation going. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next week. Bye!